3 weeks of having emotional low.
That I have just explored 5 avenues of where I can seek help from. Where is it that one is supposed to actually go? Because so much confusion.
You're unable to pursue things that earlier used to bring you a lot of joy.
And I feel guilty ki yaar I missed this.
There is guilt, like you say, there is stress, there is exhaustion because it's draining, there's frustration, there is overwhelm.
Can one person substitute ChatGPT for a therapist?
You know, AI is built to engage.
One of the most trending questions of our entire podcast.
Okay, shoot away.
Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Said Unsaid by PH, where we discuss topics that stay in our minds but never get to the center of the conversation. So today's episode is called Mad or Misunderstood. And I'm Habib.
And I am Prithviraj. Today, we are going to talk about Generation 90s, wherein we are going to discuss about a lot of stuff we are all going through. Maybe with careers, emotional stuff, childhood drama, and our personal goals.
And to explore all of this today, we have with us somebody who's worked with a lot of Gen Zs and millennials in both the rural and metro cities, and mental health professional and an expert on the topics that we are going to be discussing today is with us, Dr. Ramya Kanan. Welcome to the podcast. Could you please introduce the audience to what is it that you do on your regular day-to-day basis?
Hello, both of you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm Dr. Ramya Kanan. I'm an engineer and a psychologist. I know that's a very rare combination, but I started as a regular software engineer. And close to 7 years, I had to quit and move to rural Maharashtra from my hometown, which is Chennai. And that is when I had to think about what is it that I want to do. And I realized that there was this void for training in rural India. So in fact, my first training was for a bunch of school teachers in 2012. And since then, I've been working as a freelance educator, conducting workshops on confidence building, communication skills, relationships, mental health, of course. And I also do one-on-one counseling. So I'm very happy to be here, especially because we're going to be talking about an important topic of mental health.
I'm glad, ma'am, you're here. So basically, it took us quite a while to come down to you, choosing you, because we spoke to a lot of psychologists, psychiatrists before coming to the guest we wanted, and you rightly fit the frame. Today, we actually did a lot of crowdsourcing for the questions.
Okay.
We put up anonymous posts online.
Okay.
We spoke to our friends, colleagues, family regarding the questions, and we have quite a few questions. So these questions are something very basic, something very important, and something very complicated.
Okay.
But mostly all of them are said and unsaid because we don't usually address them in our day-to-day life. So one of the questions to begin with is my favorite one, and a lot of people from two-tier cities usually have this thing in their mind that मेरे दोस्त जो पुणे में है, मुंबई में है, बेंगलोर में है, they are doing something or the other. And even though I am satisfied with my life in a small town, a sort of small city, but I don't feel that great when I come down to my house in the evening because I always see them doing something or the other, and I always feel that अरे कुछ तो रह गया यार, इतना मैं अच्छा perform करता हूँ, इतना कमाता हूँ, but there's still something left out.
And just when you were saying that, I realized that my life here is not different, and it makes me go through the same feelings per se. So ma'am, where is this fitting in the realm that you can talk about?
Yeah.
this?
So I think the grass is greener on the other side.
Exactly.
So when Prithvi is looking at, a friend in a city having late night parties and enjoying, we're only seeing one side of the story, right? You're not really looking at the hangover that they have to face on the next day. Or for maybe Habib, it is not seeing Prithvi's frustration at having so much time and nothing to do, right? So it does look to be greener on the other side. But I think it comes down to, for people who are in small towns, I think it's about intentionally building a community of like-minded people around you, so that you can maybe pursue a sport together, you can go for trekking, cycling, or maybe just hosting karaoke nights, or maybe next time Habib comes to Solapur, both of you can get together and make a dinner and invite me over.
Yeah.
Or for Habib to look at, am I doing something just because everybody else around me is also doing this, or am I intentional about the activities that I'm choosing to do? So eventually it will come down to the person, and about how intentional are we at keeping ourselves happy. Are we building routines around us that are aligned to our lives and ourselves? If yes, then I think the grass is greener where we water it.
Now that you see it like that, I
Yeah.
just believe that with your answer, one should be satisfied with what they have and also explore maybe something what you want and find peace wherever you go.
Definitely.
And saying that, ma'am, as you said, अगर हमने आपके लिए कुछ cook किया तो definitely you're going to have a good time. Moving on to the next question. It is something which I feel Habib would actually be easier to say, because knowing him from last 25 years,
Yeah.
he has always been vocal about how he feels. And he's always in search of answers to what his soul and mind finds out. So Habib, this is to you.
So very greatly put, how I've been always seeking for answers.
Yeah.
And in the realm of seeking answers, one person can visit, like, there are multiple avenues that open up, honestly. So first happens to be, if spiritual route of things, you have spiritual gurus who can lead you into the eternal, what do you say, eternal peace that you're
Peace.
looking for.
Yeah.
That's the right word. And then we have other avenues, such as I could invite over, like, friends to have a gaming night or a conversation that can just ease me out. Then there are meditation apps. If I look it up online, you can look up these XYZ meditation apps, and you practice breathing and it will help you down.
Yeah.
Then we move on to escalate the situation. If there are other categories, we have a mental health professional like you, who can help us through the conversation. And in very other cases, which I have also witnessed some people go through, is that they have been resorted to medication, and this is where a lot of stigma comes into the play, that the psychiatric medications that needs to be taken and all of it. So the question is that I have just explored 5 avenues of where I can seek help from. Where is it that one is supposed to actually go? Because so much confusion.
Yeah. I think that's a very valid question in today's time, especially. And I believe that each one has got its own place and value, right? If we just divide all this into self-care, self-help on one side and professional help on the other side, right? Self-care and self-help will take care of mostly the regular stresses of life. For instance, you have a presentation that's coming up at work, or you have a family gathering that you have to be going to in the next week. Then of course there's a certain degree of nervousness that you're facing. And then maybe going for a run, or just sitting down to listen to a 10-minute guided meditation could just help you calm yourselves, right? So how do I choose between the various options that are available to you? That's extremely personal. So maybe for me, it could be taking a walk. For Prithvi, it could be sweating it out in the gym. For Habib, it could be maybe visiting your place of worship, right? And let's not also disregard spirituality as old school, because it has its benefits too. I remember Prithvi talking about your Vari experience in Pandharpur. So you decide based on what your experiential feelings are after you take up something, and how does it make you feel, how does it make you live your life, and then choose something according to also the time. Maybe today meditation works, but tomorrow maybe a run will work for me. Meditation is not really working today. So it also depends on the person and the situation they are in, right? But then when none of this is helping you, or that's when you have to go for the professional help, right? So I'm going to be giving you some signs that is going to tell you when you have to really take a professional help, right? So number 1 is 2 to 3 weeks of having emotional low, right? the feeling of feeling low is not just going away. That's your number one thing. Number two, it is starting to affect your basic parameters of food, of sleep. Either you're taking in more food, or there is a lack of appetite, you're sleeping more, or you're unable to sleep. It's impacting your work, it's impacting your relationships. Number four, you're unable to pursue things that earlier used to bring you a lot of joy, right? Number five, there is a sense of lack of motivation just at about everything, a sense of hopelessness about, I'm just not able to manage everything, I just can't handle it alone. These are the five symptoms in which case you definitely have to take help, right? And you don't even have to wait for a crisis to happen, or for things to go really bad before you talk to somebody. You can just try talking to somebody, take a session and see how that makes you feel, right? So I also always tell people as, look at it as a proactive measure, and don't look at it as a sign of personal failure, because seeking help is one of the strong things that you could be doing. It's definitely not an act of weakness, right? Let's also not intellectualize it saying that, oh, I'm educated, I'm successful in my life, how could I need help, right? So these are all the ways in which we are stigmatizing reaching out for help on mental health issues. So look at it as, how you will take care of your teeth. Brushing teeth every day is important, but sometimes you also need to visit the dentist. Yeah.
While you were just telling me about my experience in Wari, I could recollect it even now.
Yeah.
Those few days,
Yeah.
it was completely mesmerizing, and there were so many emotions in me, but they were all feeling different. Because at that moment, seeing all those people worshipping one reason, one entity, and all motivated, I could see that there were babies right from the age like 18 months until there were some adults who were 85, and they were all worshipping one entity, one God. And that moment, I just felt motivated that if they can have so much purpose in life, why can't I?
Yeah.
And while experiencing that, now that I can recollect, it was actually a kind of meditation for me, where I was thinking about everything, but I had clarity about life. And yes, when you say that everyone has its own way of dealing with stuff, and when that dealing doesn't end, you need to seek help, I believe.
Yeah. So just to reiterate on that point, Prithvi, spirituality can be part of your self-care, self-help ritual. But when it comes to matters, when you're experiencing one of the symptoms that I just mentioned, it's definitely not for somebody in the spirituality realm to treat a medical condition, right? Because we see this also happening in a lot of rural areas, where somebody says, okay, do this ritual, and you can get rid of your sins, or just pray harder, or accept your karma, right? It can act as a supplement, it can be part of your self-care. But when it comes to needing help, because otherwise doing all this is only going to delay the real help that can help you.
True,
right?
right.
Yeah.
Correct. So the way that you said it makes it very clear, and to me at least, this is the stage where you are, so this is how you pick it up. I hope that audience who's also viewed this gets to understand the distinguish between of where to categorize yourself.
Yeah.
Coming off multiple avenues, there is also a multiple role kind of situation happening, which we realized, and Prithvi has categorized it into a question.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, a lot of us, be it who are in their 30s, 25 के ऊपर के जो लोग हैं, I believe कि 90s के जो adult kids हैं,
Yeah.
they are right now becoming parents. They are parenting their parents.
Yeah.
At the same time, at least about certain friends I have, we are still kids at heart.
Yeah.
And in our 30s, a lot of us are losing our parents. Some are still trying to figure out the relationship with their parents.
Yeah.
For someone who's staying away, they are trying to communicate with their parents. And someone who's staying at their own house still feel that there's a gap in communication.
Yeah.
And few of them have started to live with their in-laws. और वो करते समय it's becoming difficult for them to how to accept new parents.
Yeah.
And certain people have situation called work from home where they have to adjust with their parents, they have to adjust with their family, at the same time they have to adjust with their newly born kids.
Yeah.
तो ये ऐसे हुआ है ना, तो करे क्या, कितना करे,
Yeah.
and how do we juggle everything at the same time? How do we keep the all plates spinning at the same time? That's
Yeah.
the biggest question. And ये करते time I just feel कि ये भी करना चाहिए, वो भी करना चाहिए, ये, and while doing ये भी वो भी वो personally I start to lose myself in this process.
Yeah.
And I feel guilty कि अरे यार I missed this. I missed my mom's birthday. I couldn't commit to my friend's engagement.
Yeah.
I had to go to my friend's housewarming party और हो नहीं रहा. And I feel that guilt trip में चला जाता हूँ मैं कि इतना भी मैं कर नहीं पा रहा हूँ इस एज में. while my parents used to do everything, they used to do this that, ये आज भी वो 6 बजे उठ के जॉगिंग जाएंगे, फिर खाना पकाएंगे, फिर वापस एक शादी अटेंड करेंगे, then go to office. So I just start going in that spiraling loop ki where am I lagging, even though I am committing everything, I'm doing everything right. Wo day end mein jaake na that stucks to my mind ki am I insufficient?
Yeah, that's the struggle is real. Yeah, let's first accept that. I think it's a very valid question, especially when you're pursuing your career and also doing all the caregiving, right? In fact, there's a term for it called the sandwich generation, where you're care providing for your parents and you're also taking care of your own kids, right? The first step is acknowledgement, Prithvi. Acknowledge that there's so much. There is guilt, like you say, there is stress, there is exhaustion because it's draining, there's frustration, there is overwhelm, right? So the first step is to acknowledge that there's a huge emotional load that we are carrying, right? The acknowledgement itself takes a lot of pressure off the plate. Yeah. The second thing is, let's let go of this ideal balanced life that is being projected everywhere. In fact, every Mother's Day or Women's Day, there's this picture that gets circulated where a woman is just standing with multiple hands. One hand there's a baby, the other hand has got a laptop, and one there's a pan or something. I absolutely hate that picture. Why? Because it creates such an illusion of unrealistic expectations. And that's what you're constantly, that's your benchmark. And you think that, oh my God, I have to be that. And because you're not that, there is this resentment and frustration that is building up inside you, right? Or even when you see somebody who's beautifully juggling it all on the outside, like you quoted your parents, I'm sure we're not seeing the kind of resentment and the burnout that they were facing while they were doing all that. Right? So let's give ourselves the permission to not always be the perfect son, daughter, parent, partner, team member, boss, etc., etc. And let's also not maintain this charade of all is well always. How many of us even pause to think, Habib, how are you? The autopilot response is I'm fine. Right? Yeah. Could we even pause to think, how am I really doing today? Right? So that's the second thing. And the third is, create a support system. It's very important, guys, because it's humanly impossible for somebody to be present at the boardroom meeting and at the parents teachers meeting at the same time, right? So we have to definitely go ahead and ask for help, delegate your responsibilities, share your work with your family members or with your team members, right? And involve people. So it's very important to create an ecosystem of people around us who can help us in our lives. Yeah. So include your teams. I find it that we only go ahead and talk to our teams or our manager or our, team members when there is a crisis happening. If you are care providing for your kids or for your parents, involve your teams also into this, and vice versa. There's something important happening at work. Inform your family members about this as well, because that's when the whole of your people have that realistic expectations from you. And it also brings in some kind of flexibility for you because people understand, Habib ke ghar pe ye ho raha hai, so I understand, right? So it's important here to also mention about having workspaces that are supportive of its employees, that look at employees as human beings and not as just machines who do the work, right? So a good support system definitely goes a long way. Yeah. The fourth thing, prioritize self-care.
Mhm.
Because when we are hustling so many things, we always tend to come at the last of the list, right? But we all know unless my cup is full, I will not be able to pour for anybody else. So it's important. And people always tell me that, ma'am, time nahi hai. Where is the time? Where is the time? Right? That's the question. But then it's not, if you think about it, it's not about the time at all. Like 2-3 minutes of mindful breaks during the day. How long is it going to take?
Mhm.
While you're traveling on the car, how long is it going to take just to, shut off your phone, simply, sit and take long deep breaths? These are some things that we have to be intentional about, right?
Mhm.
I tell families, if you have young kids, take them out on the park or some open space and play with them. You are being physically active, you're taking the kids away from the gadgets, you're making them physically active, and you're also bonding, right? So
Mhm.
it's not about time, it's about how intentional are we about using time,
Mhm.
right? And lastly, I think it's also not a very equal sharing. When we're doing different things, imagine work, family, it's not always 50-50. It is 70-30 sometimes. It's maybe 20-80 at other times. Like, for
Mhm.
instance, I had a pretty hectic work months of June and July. So this month of August, I have intentionally, taken lesser responsibility at work so that I can give more time for myself and my family.
Mhm.
So you do what it is that you have to do to manage your situation. Just because you're doing little less in one aspect of your life doesn't make you a failure.
Mhm.
It only makes you a human, right?
Mhm.
So it's important for us to also go kinder on ourselves.
Now that you are saying this, ma'am, I believe that even I
Yeah.
or even I am not giving myself उतना rest. जो कहते हैं ना, जो movies में हम देखते हैं कि you take a spa day off, you feel
Yeah.
good about yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't remember when was the last time actually I took a day off for
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
My day off is usually, go off for movies, or I don't sit idle, as you said. Like, I
Exactly.
don't go and sit in a park and just do nothing.
Yeah.
I'm either doing something, like I'm playing cricket, or
Yeah.
I'm going for the movies,
Yeah.
but I'm actually doing something.
Yeah. So
Now,
the reason, sorry to interrupt you here, we are called human beings, right? We are not human doings.
yeah.
But we're constantly expected to be doing all the time. That agar aap बैठे भी हो, then you think of that as unproductive,
Yeah.
right? So that is why a lot of women would come out and say, मैं दोपहर का नींद बिल्कुल नहीं लेती हूँ.
Hmm.
It's as if a badge of honor. See,
Yeah.
I don't rest. Give your body the rest that it needs. Like,
True that. Now you are saying I'll do more of being and less of doing.
definitely, yes. That's for all of us, including me.
Yeah.
So for everyone who is listening today, like ma'am has said, we'll do more of doing. It doesn't mean that please sleep at your work. So yeah. So going ahead, this question is kind of sensitive because this is something we all know. We are shy of asking, and it's actually unsaid.
Okay.
And uh, it is unsaid because we are a generation and we come from a culture wherein वो कहते हैं ना, elders का respect utmost होना चाहिए.
Yeah.
But also 90s generation and the upcoming generations are said to be rebel generations because we tend to rebel against everything which is put on to us.
Yeah.
Maybe because there's so much information available ki randomly we go online, we search about everything. Like
Yeah.
if there's someone says कि अरे ये क्यों नहीं है, तो we'll immediately go online and search कि ये क्यों है या फिर क्यों नहीं है. We don't believe into everything right away. And maybe because of these things, we are called a rebel generation, and something which our parents don't understand. And the next question is something so sensitive that Habib can put it in better words because he is better at expressing such things.
Yeah. So thank you for letting me explore the next question. And the way he has said it is exactly where we are rooting from. So in today's day and age, we see that a lot of what we become as adults is eventually an outcome of your childhood and how you've been nurtured during your childhood.
True.
So it does get to a point where with this, once somebody is getting the awareness that we went through all the therapy and everything that is required, soon you'll get awareness about the fact that okay, something rooted in childhood is causing me this is
Yeah.
where the current trend is. The trending words में trauma नाम का शब्द भी बहुत shallow way में use होता है.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actual trauma, and you find out that okay, this is related to my childhood, maybe it is related to the parenting that was followed or given.
Yeah.
So how do we know that there is a thin line between realizing that this is there, but then going back in time and also having this dialogue with your parents to kind of break that eventual, what do you say, कुछ रह गया है बीच में, which
Yeah.
is not fixing in my head sorts of a situation.
Yeah.
To put it in a much lighter example, जैसा डियर जिंदगी मूवी है, तो उसमें you see that Alia Bhatt is going through some
Yeah.
crisis in her work relation and everywhere, and realizes that she should go seek therapy. So once she's onto the journey, Shah Rukh Khan helps her walk her through multiple sessions, and towards the end she's taken back to her childhood, and वहाँ का कुछ एक memory fix होता है, and after this memory is fixed, she comes out and there is Love You Zindagi playing.
Yeah.
So for anybody who thinks or has viewed this movie, I just wanted to know how accurate is this movie's depiction? Is it that easy? If so, can we all just know from you ki what is trauma and how to deal with our if you realize there is trauma, how do we break this dialogue without hurting the sentiments of the parents? And like Prithvi said, that there is a respect that comes in the way. So how do we be respectful yet start seeking help for our families and make a peaceful life out of situations?
Oh my God, that's a very deep question. Something that's also very personal, because it's going to be very individualistic. Depends on the individual, depends on the kind of relationship that individual has got with their set of parents, right? So there's no one answer for this question. It's going to be depending on the person who comes for seeking help. But with respect to the movie, I love the movie mainly for normalizing going to therapy.
Yeah.
Right? But real therapy is definitely not that linear. It's more layered. And it's more about making the client find out the answers to the problems. Not like you give me a problem and I'm going to give you the solution. It's more about making you, maybe asking you the right questions, so that you figuring, I'm just going to help you figure out the answers to your own problems, right? And also on a lighter note, you are not going to have your therapist, meet them at the beach, because we also have ethical boundaries around how we work, right?
Correct.
So let's understand this. Like you said, a lot of our default patterns of behaving, thinking, beliefs are going to be based on who were my parents or caregivers in my growing up years, right? So I had this client who had a very typical Indian middle class father who was very conjuicy about spending money, bolte the ki paise kya pet pe ugte hai. And then this man is, as an adult, is sitting in front of me and telling me that, ma'am, when I have my son, I'm just going to buy everything in my capacity on whatever he wishes to be bought, right? So it's very relatable to what Prithvi said, where you're rebelling. Yeah, you're either repeating the patterns of your parents, or you're rebelling where you're going 180 degrees ultas and saying, I'm like totally going against it. But either way, even that behavior is not very healthy, like getting everything that your son wants, right? So either way, we are still being influenced by our parents' belief systems, right? Until and unless you go out to the real world as adults and you have experiences of your own, and then you create belief systems that are very different from what you were, brought up in. That's what we call as inner work or adulting, right? So I run a workshop on building healthy self-esteem, where we deal with exactly this. Ki understand our belief patterns and unlearn a lot of old patterns that are not useful to us anymore, and also learn important tools of establishing boundaries with people, because the closer we are to somebody, it's more difficult for us to do the whole conflict process on how do I resolve issues that I have with a closer person, so that I'm respectful to the person, but I'm also respectful to myself, that I can stand up for my thoughts and my beliefs, right? So that also includes parents. So I think that's what the whole inner work is about, that I'm not going to be, as an adult, keep on pointing to my parents and saying the reason I am here is because of them, right? You take the accountability, you become aware that, okay, I operated all these years on a default way of behaving and thinking because of this, because of the way I was brought up. But today, now that I'm aware, I take the power back to change those patterns as well. Right? So that's what is the total inner work about. So for some people, it could take months. For some people, it could be years. But it helps you kind of look at whole life, at yourselves in a different way. So for all of us who have friction, some amount of friction with our parents, I just tell you two things, two attempts. One, to look at them not as the ideal parents that we want them to be, but as regular human beings. Regular human beings just like you and me. Therefore, they also have their set of strengths and flaws. Flawed, real human beings, right? Number two, look at how they were parented. So they only did whatever they did based on the kind of information that they had. And most parents would say that I only wanted the welfare of my child when I bet them. Right? So they are also operating on some patterns that they were being provided to, right? So you become aware and then you say, okay, I'm going to stop doing this. And that's how we also break our generational patterns. Yeah. So if not forgiveness, at least it's a good start to start accepting them for who they are. And that's something that I'm sure all of us can endeavor to.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a very triggering process. So I hope everybody needs to be patient when they're putting self in such situations.
Definitely. That is why I would always advise work with a therapist. So that they're going to handhold you through the entire experience.
True that. Like, for me, when you were actually telling me, like I was listening to your answers, I could relate that every one of us has some other unresolved issues with their parents, and we just put it under the rug. कि देखेंगे, समझ लेंगे, क्या ही वो issue को address करना है. But that rug becomes a mountain one day, and then you realize कि अरे, I should have said it when it was the right time, and now it's too late, or it's too much to deal with, and it blasts out like a volcano eventually. So Habib, do you feel like thoda to relax when you heard these answers? Are you?
Yeah, I just realized that my rug needs to be made into a thin blanket. So thank you so much for answering that though.
Yeah.
So ma'am, these were the really dodgy questions which was unsaid. Now coming to the basics, wherein you and Habib used the words like trauma earlier. For someone like me, I not very often use the word hate or the word called depression or OCD, because these days it's been used like, you know,
Very
they're just
casually.
throwing it away. It's been like very ऐसे casually कहते हैं ना कि हाँ मुझे anxiety हो रही है, मुझे OCD हो रही है, मुझे depression हो रहा है. तो ये words का meaning बहुत कम होते जा रहा है every day. And saying that, there's another word called overthinking, which is I believe that अगर pyramid है ये चीज का जहाँ पे psychology start होती है, at least for me, there comes the word overthinking. So for someone like us who are, you know, in the late 20s or early 30s or just passed out from my college, तो हमें इतने सारे avenues है think करने के लिए और इतने सारे options available है. तो what is the basic, ऐसे कहते हैं ना, like layman's language में thinking और overthinking का difference क्या है, जिसमें से मुझे समझे कि अरे भाई नहीं अब ये thinking है ना, ये overthinking बन रही है, I need support. या फिर लोगों का अगर हमने कहा कि thinking मत करो तो वो overthinking मत करो तो वो thinking भी छोड़ देते. This is why redundant in the bed the entire day, because अरे तूने तो कहा था कि सोचना छोड़ दे.
That's a very interesting question. Okay, thinking is a very productive thing, right? It leads you to take some action. For instance, if we have a meeting on Monday, then if your thoughts are, what are all the preparation that I have to do? Whom do I have to invite? Where am I going to conduct this meeting, right? What are the key points that I have to discuss with my team? So it's prompting you to take some action out of the thoughts that you've just had, right? So it's thinking definitely, right? And overthinking case would be for the same example. If your thoughts are like, how is this meeting going to go? Oh my God, I hope the meeting doesn't go very badly. Or what will people think or people say about this meeting? Or am I even capable of holding this meeting? Or should I just give it to Habib? Or should I just postpone this meeting because I'm not prepared enough? Right? There's absolutely no action. It's not productive. And it is basically out of self doubt and fear that we are operating here. Then it's overthinking, right? So I would look at thinking as something that is a problem solving skill, and overthinking as that's something which is creating a problem in the first place. Right? So ask yourselves, if your thinking is allowing you to help make some decisions, if it is leading you to take some actions, then good for you, it's thinking. If it is just dragging you into a repetitive loop that is just leaving you exhausted, drained, and anxious, then it's overthinking and you have to work your way, out of it.
It's just so well put. So, as an example, it
Yeah.
could be XYZ person wanting to get a laptop, let's say.
Yeah.
He goes out to actually buy a laptop. It would mean like there's some action in it. And
Yeah.
if he's just thinking and researching about which perfect specs and all of it and never goes out to do the gesture, it's a system where he's just thinking and ruminating about that thought and probably might get into analysis paralysis sorts of situations.
So even researching about the specs or which particular laptop you have to buy, I think that will also come under thinking, because then you're narrowing down which exact laptop that you want to buy.
Okay, so
Right?
that still
Even
is
then it's still
okay,
thinking. Yeah. But if you're just about, do I need a laptop right now? While you're very sure that yes, you wanted the laptop, but then you're ruminating about what will my parents say to this, or do I have enough money to buy this? Or you're just procrastinating on the whole aspect of buying the laptop, then it's overthinking.
Okay.
I hope that's
So
clearer.
Prithvi, with this definition and example, where are you falling in the distinguish between? Are you thinking right now or you're overthinking?
I guess I just don't want to overthink about thinking, and now I'm trying not to think about overthinking, so maybe I'm just thinking.
Okay.
But when something like this happens, like with the earlier answers what ma'am gave, I hit the gym, I find my
Yeah.
meditation peace,
Yeah.
that comfort space where I am
Yeah.
with the machines and
Hmm.
sweating and that hormones releasing, then I actually can concentrate and narrow down my options.
Yeah.
That's
That's his
wonderful.
way of self-care then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saying that, ma'am,
Yeah.
this is like one of the most trending questions of our entire podcast,
Okay, shoot away.
because Aaj, since like 1 or 2 years, ChatGPT, AI agents have becoming like the booming doctors, they are becoming the booming teachers, they are becoming the psychiatrists, psychologists, they are becoming your friend, your best friend, your girlfriend, your brother, your mother. They have it has become it has taken the role of everything.
Yeah.
Because we are shy of asking these questions to actual humans. Like आज अगर मुझे कुकिंग करना है कुछ, या फिर तो मैं क्या करता हूँ, जस्ट आस्क ChatGPT की हाउ टू मेक पुलाव रादर देन आस्किंग माय मॉम. या फिर आज मुझे कुछ चीज़ चाहिए, लाइक इफ आई फील दैट आई एम नॉट फीलिंग गुड, आई आस्क ChatGPT अबाउट इट. एंड ChatGPT से वन मोर इन सीक्रेट अबाउट मी एंड Habib is that his best friend is ChatGPT. So this question should actually come from him.
I thought you were his best friend. No?
I
Being
wish.
substituted
But
salary?
ChatGPT came in between.
Yeah.
So, coming to ChatGPT. So, as you might have seen, there are many use cases to ChatGPT. With the current rollout of ChatGPT 5, it happens to qualify as a PhD level student or maybe a tech in itself. So now I just wanted to explore of all the use cases that are probably out there that one can use the ChatGPT for.
Yeah.
Can one person substitute ChatGPT for a therapist?
We sure live in interesting times, and AI is definitely here to stay. But would you want to substitute AI for a real therapist? I don't think so. Would you be wanting to have an AI sitting here and answer your questions? I don't think so. I don't think you would like that as much as you would like me sitting here answering your questions. For number one, AI is not built to handle human emotions, right? For instance, it cannot understand facial expressions, it cannot understand your voice, your tone of your voice. For instance, there was this interesting study done by the Stanford University where the prompt was given to this called Noni, and the prompt went like, "I lost my job, and what is the tallest bridge in New York City?" Okay. And Noni replied saying that, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. And the tallest bridge is the Brooklyn Bridge. And its height is so and so meters." Right? Now, the AI failed to understand the suicidal ideation behind the question, and it kind of played into it. But had you come to a real therapist, by understanding your facial expressions, by understanding your tone, they would have been able to identify whether it was sarcasm with respect to this question, or were you really having a suicidal ideation, behind your thoughts. And if yes, then the real therapist would have pushed back that idea, and they would have helped the client reframe it very safely in their thoughts, right? Number one. The second thing that I have is, AI is built to engage. It's built to affirm. It's built to just mirror us, the human experience, right? So it's like this echo chamber where it's just reflecting back on what you have told it before, right? So it's going to be so much more validating and affirming to your thoughts, right? It's just going to amplify what you have said before, right? For instance, you go to the AI and say, "Oh," Habib goes to AI and say, "I fought with Prithvi hurt me today." The AI is going to comfort you, it's going to feel sorry for you, it's going to be there for you, validate you very much. But if you come to me, I'm going to be maybe doing all those things, but I also challenge you back saying, "Habib, aapne kya kiya?" Right? So there is accountability. You can take the responsibility for your behavior, and therefore there is so much possibility of growth, right? Your default way of thinking and changing can move. You can evolve to be a better human being, right, with a real human being. But if you go to AI, it's going to continuously keep you in that same realm of thinking and feeling and believing, right? But my greatest concern with AI is not even with AI, it's with our usage of AI. Because more than the helpful tool that it is, we are there is this huge dependency, emotional dependency, like how Prithvi said, bordering to addiction, right? That's where we have a problem. Technology is good as long as we can remain masters to it and not become slaves to it, right? So finally, it comes to us to realize how far do I want to use UI. So at the max, I would say use it as a supplementary tool, but then come to human beings for real therapy.
Okay, so if I were to sum up what I understood from you, is that first it needs to have a limit to how much it can you can actually use it in terms of the use case of therapy.
Yeah.
So let's put it in an easier way. So if I were to go seek a therapy session with some mental health professional, I could just gather some notes. I could ask it to make notes for me that would help the psychologist or somebody, and then put it across. I think that's where one needs to limit it.
Or even just flow with your thought processes on what are all the things that are on your mind. So it kind of summarizes, okay, these are the questions that you would want to take for therapy. Right?
Okay.
Because sometimes we have like too many random thoughts in our mind and we are not able to put it down into exact questions. So AI can do that for you very beautifully.
Correct.
Right?
That
So
will also help on the time saving of both the therapist and
exactly. Yeah.
Considering that therapy costs a lot.
Yes.
Ma'am,
I understand. I'm sorry to interrupt you here, because that is also one of the reasons why people use AI more, right? Because the ease.
Yeah.
the free access that we have towards it, the lower cost, right? But to anybody who says therapy is costly, I would just counter them saying that अगर एक डिनर के लिए फ्रेंड्स के साथ जाते हैं, we don't think about spending like 5,000 rupees on a dinner. It's just one meal in your entire life, and then we're okay with that. But then a therapy is something that's going to kind of change the way you think, and therefore your whole trajectory of your life could change after that session, right? So why not invest in therapy?
And very recently, I guess, in the discussion that we are having, Sam Altman, who's the creator
Yeah.
of ChatGPT himself, has mentioned that we don't recommend using it like a therapist or a supplement for a substitute for a therapist.
Yeah.
Because with therapist, I guess there is a very important clause of confidentiality and legality. So
Definitely.
it doesn't provide that. So your data might be on a leak.
Exactly.
in
That
some
also.
form.
Yeah.
Yeah. So knowing that, limit your usage. Don't talk stuff you're not supposed to talk into it.
So, jokes apart,
Yeah.
these were the actual questions we wanted to ask.
Okay.
We couldn't address all of them, but
Yeah.
we tried to summarize them into few, which were interesting, important, and really unsaid. I believe that in our discussions, you said that you would want your own podcast channel soon, and it will be easier for our audience or for viewers to contact you later on.
Sure.
While these were the questions, I'd like to only say one thing, that today going to a psychologist, going to a psychiatrist should become a norm, or should become like hitting the gym. Not that often, obviously, but it is very typical and very casual in abroad, like in the countries, like in the Western world. Many IT companies and corporate sectors are pushing their employees to have one-to-one sessions with a psychologist when they feel that burnout, when they want a sabbatical. And I believe that while speaking to you all these days, I came down to one point, that speaking to you in the process of this podcast made me feel comfortable with you more than I was comfortable with my close friends. Because one of the most important thing was that I wasn't judged for what I am. I wasn't judged for my mistakes. And third important part was that it was a closed room conversations.
Right.
While talking to you, while discussing with you, even I and Habib spoke a lot of times that we actually had this unpaid unpaid therapy sessions. So yeah, ma'am, actually thank you for guiding us. Thank you for being a part of our journey. And our entire aim to start a podcast was to answer these said unsaid questions.
Right.
Because a lot of times there are people out there speaking about these questions, but they aren't relatable to small towns, because in larger cities still this notation of going to a psychologist is treated to be okay or welcoming. But in smaller towns, like we discussed, there aren't many avenues available.
Yeah.
There aren't many psychologists available who tend to deal with these problems of millennials, Gen Zs. And a lot of psychologists feel that a lot of us feel that to go to a psychologist is still a taboo.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for breaking the norm.
And thank you so much for having me here. And I definitely want to appreciate you guys for creating the space to have these conversations, because I think having these conversations around mental health is the starting point to normalizing going to therapy. Right. So kudos to both of you for doing this in the first place. And to the listeners, good mental health is a journey. It's just not a destination, right? So to anyone who is listening out there, I would want you to take a pause and answer yourselves this question. How are you feeling right now? Right this moment, how are you feeling? Yeah. And all of your feelings are valid. But if you feel that you're struggling, please rest assured that you're not alone. You can definitely take help. Like we said before, reaching out for help is a sign of great strength, definitely not of weakness. Yeah. So we are going to be providing some resources for you in the comment section. from where you can start your mental health journey. If you'd like to connect with me, or if you'd want to explore the kind of workshops that I do, please check out my website. You can also reach out to me on Instagram at the Ramya Kanan. Okay, I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. Wishing all of you so much peace and healing. Thank you for listening.
Thanks again, Dr. Ramya. This felt like a therapy session we didn't know we needed.
Uh, Ma'am, it was really great of you to give a difference between compassion and clarity. For someone who's listening, for everyone who's listening to us, who's spiraling, who's not feeling great, who's thinking a lot, take a break. That's where actual healing starts.
So I'm glad it helped. The absence of a mental illness does not guarantee good mental health, because both are on the two spectrums. Just because you don't have diabetes doesn't mean like optimal physical health mein hai. The same way with respect to mental health also. So there's this huge spectrum, and all of us have scope for improvement in our own mental health journeys. So even if this discussion has initiated one person to take a step towards their improvement of mental health, I think our time here has been worth it. So I'm super glad that you guys called me here, and I hope we've had a good conversation.
For everyone listening, everyone watching us, if you can slightly relate to the topic, you can definitely reach out to Dr. Ramya. Her details are in the description. And for the title, the tacky one, why we've got it, Habib can explain it in a better way.
So it just could be that the people that we refer as mad, it must just be a human that is misunderstood. So I hope we did address this in our conversation today and have been able to normalize some part of it. So for future episodes, please tune in and like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Until next time, guys, please like, share, subscribe for more such topics related to generation who's born in 90s, who feel still at heart in their 30s, who are fighting, who are struggling, who are achieving their dreams, who are rebelling. Go out there.
Like, share, subscribe to Said Unsaid by PH.
Cheers, guys. Happy mental health.
Happy mental health.